Good evening, everybody. We appreciate everybody that's in person and online being patient with this process. We know that this is challenging, and as we go through this meeting, the stockholders meeting, we ask that everybody just remember that a lot of people are online, there's people in person, and so we will try to get to those as we can, and just be mindful of that. If for some reason we skip over you and you get to the end and you still you feel like you skipped over, you got something to say, let us know. We'll try to get to everybody, but let's try to be mindful to not speak over each other and do those things. We've got several board members here in person, and we've got several online. Our president, Mr. Edgerton, is online. And so at this time, we welcome you here to Greensboro Country Club special meeting for stockholders. We're glad that you're with us tonight. We thank you for logging in, those that have logged in and those that are here in person. And the businesses to be transacted this evening will be the Irving Park campus improvements votes, and then any other business which may properly come before our meeting. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we have a quorum as present in person or by proxy.
Thank you. Our first item of business will be the consideration of improvements to the Irving Park campus that have been approved by the board and recommended to our members for approval. At this time, our president, Mr. Edgerton, would like to kind of go through a synopsis of that project and say a few words.
Thanks, BJ. Good night, everybody, or good night, everyone. How did we get here? Well, please recall we conducted a membership survey in 2017 to help us determine what amenity enhancements or improvements were important to you and to seek your feedback relative to GCC's operations and facility needs. That survey was followed by a series of focus group sessions where membership was invited to provide additional comments on these same topics. Based on this input and consistent with our adopted strategic plan, the board of directors, together with our renovation committee, presented a master facilities plan, which is approved by the membership with a 75.8% approval. Unfortunately, the project came in over budget, largely due to unanticipated and unprecedented increase in construction costs, which subsequently led the board to prudently pause and reevaluate and come up with a more comprehensive plan for the membership. Since that pause, the renovation committee has been working to analyze our current facility needs and to consider a more comprehensive plan for much needed possible enhancements and improvements. We have addressed critical needs for repair and also enhanced our amenities to attract new families to GCC. There's truly something for everyone in this renovation package. We were so excited about these improved amenities, and we couldn't wait to get the brochure and renderings in your hands for you to get a taste of what's in store. We are investing in a first-class club experience for the future of GCC and believe it's a prudent time to undergo a renovation when our facilities are only open at limited capacity or not able to open at all and resulting in operating losses. I want to personally thank our renovation chair, Matthew Rankin, members of the renovation committee, members of the aquatics, fitness, house, membership, tennis, youth activities, members at large, and past presidents for their time and tireless service in these efforts. Rather than list the many individuals involved to date and run the risk of missing someone, I'll just say that I've counted and can thankfully report that now over 100 members have been involved in this renovation project to date. The culmination of this collaboration is that we have updated and the board unanimously approved a revised master facilities and renovation plan that address both the membership's most immediate needs, the needs of our aging and in some cases deteriorated facilities, and also to position the club to serve our members and future members with premier facilities for years to come. The estimated conservative project costs total $19.1 million, which we anticipate paying for without an assessment or an increase in the current capital dues structure. The club distributed brochures and an FAQ to the full membership. In addition, the club has hosted 4 Zoom meetings where the plan was presented with associated costs and explained the financing of the renovation. Questions were submitted ahead of time and those not already answered in the brochures were addressed by the renovation committee during the Zoom meetings. Again, the #1 priority of the board was to present the full membership with all the information needed to have each one of the stockholding members adequately prepared and comfortable to vote on the proposal by tonight. I'm happy to report as of 6:30 p.m. tonight, the club had received proxies from approximately 62.4% of our stockholding membership. And I'm sure that number will rise with proxies submitted at this special meeting tonight. For more color, the December 2018 plan had 55% turnout. So BJ, that's where we are. Thanks.
Thank you, David. At this time, we'd like to give those present via Zoom or phone a reasonable opportunity to participate in the meeting. I will ask that everybody be mindful that we have a lot online. And so what we're going to try to do is go through it alphabetically. And Nikki will see a hand raise and organize, and we'll call on you when it's your turn. So at this time, would anyone with the last names beginning with A through D like to comment further?
You can just unmute yourself or you can raise your hand. Okay, I don't see anybody.
Anybody with the last names E through H?
If you can raise your hand, please, or unmute yourself.
Okay. Anybody with the last names beginning with I through M?
You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. Mr. McCarty.
There was a question I had that is out there, but as I recall, there was an issue before about city and the parking that was required. Did they get that all straightened out, that there's not going to be any additional parking required in order to get it properly permitted and all that stuff? Are we all set there?
Yes, this is Matthew Rankin, just filling in for BJ to answer the question. Yes, that has been resolved. And the Board of Adjustments basically said, this is a private club. If they want to have a certain number of parking spaces that doesn't conform with what, our formula is for a city project, then so be it. And so it was approved that we can have what we have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now.
This is Bo McIntosh. I was a little bit late. Just wanted to make sure that you guys had my vote. It's last 3 digits are 188.
One moment while we check our records.
Should be under RF McIntosh.
Yes, we do have your proxy. Thank you.
Any other comments from those with the last names I through M? Okay, we don't see any last names beginning with N through R.
You can unmute yourself or you can raise your hand. One moment, please.
Okay. Anybody with the last names beginning S through Z?
You can unmute yourself or you can raise your hand. Okay, I do not see anybody.
Okay. Any members present have comments, questions? Technically, they're not supposed to in a member vote meeting. Proxy meeting.
Last meeting tonight, several guys, especially towards the end of the meeting, were very, very much down. Getting debt paid, not being in debt, long and
Those on the Zoom call, we can't hear the question, so if somebody would be
Yeah,
kind.
I'm gonna repeat what's being said after she's done.
Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry.
the issues were very strong for me. And not being in debt, not getting in debt, speaking to the issues that must be addressed on behalf of the club, things that are in such affairs, technically, issues with the kitchen, addressing facilities that we do have, bringing them up to standard, certainly showing more equity towards issues such as women block grants versus men block grants. Obviously, there is an enormous concern about the number of members who drop out. I know that there is a lot of discussion about the fact that we're not paid that much, going to be able to do all these wonderful things. But at some point, we've got to realize that the loss of membership that we have has a problem. Many of the members have asked and petitioned for social membership, separate memberships for all. We still do not seem to get attention for that. And I think it's very frustrating that it's not coming for as much as and things such as that. So I think on my behalf, a number of things.
Okay, so the comments on the floor or questions were pertaining to the finances as indicated to what issues will be resolved, the things that have been needing to be addressed at the club. Certain things as far as locker rooms, women's locker rooms, kitchens, pools, other classes of membership, and kind of where we stand on those things and that conversation. I think it's probably a good time for Mr. Rankin to give a quick synopsis of how we got here financially and what that looks like as far as what we're addressing.
Yes, thank you. First, I just want to say thank you for the question. There are a lot of things involved in that question, but they're all very relevant. And the way I would sort of try and respond in summary is that we have a lot of deferred maintenance. We have significant deferred maintenance that is anywhere from $5 to $7 million that this new renovation project was going to tackle, and then some to carry us into the future. And so part of what we're doing with this renovation project is addressing what has been deferred for so long, but also modernizing what we're doing. And so when we talk about different membership classes, it's hard to do it. Look at things like social memberships, look at other forms of membership when our membership base continues to decline. And so when we are discussing with our consultants on things to do, how we can modernize, how we can attract new members and their families, we have to improve our facilities to a point where people want to come join. And once we get our levels back up to where we think they can get, and what consultants have seen other clubs like us do, and what results with additional new members, then we must start revisiting things like social memberships and things like that, because that is important. It has been discussed at the membership committee. It's just not found traction. And so, and when it comes to addressing other needs, I think women's locker room was mentioned. We are improving the women's locker room. We are, part of this project includes putting in sort of a nice reception area where you could, it's a beverage station, Wi-Fi, soft furniture, and on a previous Zoom call, there was a question about, well, the showers are in bad shape. Is there room in the budget to address things like that? And what I will tell you is we have cushion baked in these numbers. And when we see things with, all these construction folks that are here, when we discover things that need to be addressed, we have cushion in our budget to do those things. The bigger, broader question is, this is a lot of debt. There's no question. And this is a time where there is uncertainty. Nobody's suggesting that it isn't a difficult time to make such a decision like this. But I think that where the board falls is that we're going to get through this, and that we have to do something to attract new members, to get them coming back, to increase utilization. And we got stuff that's literally falling apart. And when you think about how many things touch each other at our small campus, how can you redo the pools without addressing the pavilion building that is virtually condemned? Everything starts to touch each other. And so the feeling of the board and the renovation committee, after looking at this so many different ways, was that it's very disruptive to get all this big equipment in here to do what we need to do. Let's do it once, let's do it right, where we know what the costs are, we know interest rates are very favorable, and we have looked at this in a number of conservative ways, and we can achieve this. What I can tell you is that I have thrown everything into this budget so that all the bells and whistles are included. I know what happened the first time with some poor guidance that we received from our consultants, and we saw what happened with the estimates that came in. We're not going to let that happen again. And so we do have cushion in this budget. I actually am very confident we will come in under this budget, which therefore will mean that we won't borrow as much money. So there are a lot of different moving pieces in this. There were some very good questions that were asked. And so I think I'll continue to turn it back over to BJ.
Thank you, Matthew. I see at this time, Miss Barbara Peck has her hand raised. Ms. Peck, you free to go ahead.
Would you please unmute yourself, Mrs. Peck?
Yeah, hi. I just had a couple of questions in terms of, I had watched the Zoom presentation you did last week that we weren't able to participate in. And I really still have a question. I did talk to one of the members of your renovation committee earlier today to go over those. But I wondered about the increased capacity that you've specified in this plan for adult grill dining, when it seems like such an underutilized facility as it stands, and why you're thinking that there's going to be such an increase in interest in using that dining facility, adult grill, when as it stands now, it's hardly utilized at all. People are much more apt to go to the DRT outside or upstairs. So,
Okay. Thank you for the question. I'll let Mr. Richard Beard, our House Committee Chair, answer that.
Barbara, thank you for the question. A lot of thought, hold on, I gotta get, a lot of thought has been put into our dining venues and how we can increase utilization. I think a lot of the feedback that I've certainly gotten on the adult grill downstairs is just not the ambiance that people are really looking for. I mean, it's a nice space, but they feel like they're in a basement. And granted, upstairs with the addition of the Sunset Bar years ago, that's been a huge improvement to our facilities, and it has drawn a lot of people in the past to utilize that space. Our goal is to see that we completely renovate and change the vibe, if you will, of downstairs, and make that the place where adults would want to go to watch watch a football game or a basketball game, or that's going to be where the real energy is. And with the upgraded DRT that's attached to that area and the elimination of the DRT kitchen will eliminate having to shut down the DRT so much, because the kitchen couldn't operate in inclement weather. And that's been a real problem for us in the past. And, it's going to be certainly an opportunity for us when, if we have a beautiful day in November, which we do in this area. We've never been able to use the DRT, but with this DRT being attached to the adult grill, we can open that area up, and it's going to be serviced out of the same kitchen. But if you look at the renderings, you see that the environment is a whole lot different than it is today. The family grill is really separated even more than it is today downstairs. And then we'll focus on the upstairs, or the sunset dining room, to be more of the upscale fine dining, but maybe more of a 1618 feel, not necessarily the white tablecloths, but fine dining, in a totally different environment. And then enhance the sunset bar to where there's more seating area, where we're not so crammed in. It's going to be different venues, but I think that the plan was very well thought out to be able to utilize the downstairs more than we do now, and with the increased capacity. And quite frankly, we want to make Greensboro Country Club your first choice for dining. And, at least that's the goal.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense to me. I mean, I hope that you're right about that. I will just reiterate what I said earlier today, that frankly, the club has had a bunch of misses in terms of decor on how they've renovated past venues. And I just feel like the decor and what you're going to, and I know there was big, bold red, this is not the final decor, but y'all have to be really careful about how you design that space aesthetically, and maybe get a little bit more input from members on what that's going to look like. Because as it stood now, that downstairs design for the adult grill, it really missed the mark, in my opinion. So, and I don't know how you're moving forward with that, but my understanding is that, there have been concerns expressed by people about the direction that Chambers has been taking with that decor, and that there have been issues with it. So, we don't want to vote yes on this, which I think, is an exciting plan, and then have no ability to weigh in on what that space is going to look like aesthetically.
Yeah, and Barbara, I will share with everyone on the call that during the first round of this, the first phase or the project that was underway that came in over budget, there is a committee, there's a interior design committee that was very much involved of club members, and also had a professional interior designer, Lauren Tilley, a part of that conversation to work with the Chamber's interior designers to make sure that this is our club and the feel and the look should be what we want. And they have picked out finishes for the first renovation that could easily be incorporated. And I hear you loud and clear. And I can tell you that there's going to be, there has been, and there'll continue to be club input. This is not Chambers making the decisions. At least I can say that for myself, and other board members could pipe in too.
Okay, well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Peck. I see Jory Marino has their hand raised.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Richard and Matthew and all the board members and everyone who's been involved in this planning process for taking it on. It's a huge undertaking and a great effort, so very much appreciated. The one question, I have sort of a question and a comment, I think. When the survey was taken and we decided on an adult lap pool, what was the demand for that? I mean, what percentage of the people that were surveyed said, we must have an adult lap pool? Because to me, it seems that that's an area that's quite discretionary, and that we could, take out of the plan and save some money. So I don't know, it's a question and a comment, I think.
So Jory, hey, this is Matthew, and great question. There have been others who have asked similar questions to that, and I guess going back to the survey, what the response was that people wanted more of a sort of resort style pool experience, which is if you look at what clubs are doing today, if you look at the types of pool environments that they are offering to their members when they do significant renovations, it includes an adult pool. And so we actually had one of our board members, Mike Cornwell, go and visit several clubs. We thought, wouldn't it be nice to go and actually visit some clubs who have done this and say, hey, if you had to do this project all over again, what would you do differently? Would you even have the adult pool? Would you do it bigger, smaller? Is it necessary? And so Mike sent me an email with some comments. One was from Country Club of Virginia that says, the adult pool, wish they had made it larger, high demand, and that it is heated. Greenville Country Club, no adult pool, and that was a mistake. So we have visited other clubs to determine, who've done big major renovations to sort of understand if they could do it again, what would they do? And so we're getting information from the consultants, but then we also wanted to see for ourselves, go visit other clubs, talk to their management and their general managers to see what could be done differently. And that just helped confirm what we were being told.
Just one follow on, Matthew. When you look at the pool area, the adult pool area, how large is it? And I guess the question, maybe the more subtle question or informative question would be, how many people can it really accommodate?
So that's also a good question. One thing I've learned going through this entire process is there are so many groups of people that the renovation committee is trying to accommodate. And so we've got adults who want to be able to swim laps at all times of the year, which is why the adult pool will be heat capable. And then you have the water aerobics group that wants to be able to do water aerobics year round, which again is why it's heat capable. And so that is why we have the design like it is again, we're trying to satisfy lots of different members and the things that they would like to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marino. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank everybody for participating. At this time, I'd like to see if we have a motion to approve the Irving Park campus improvements as presented to the membership.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Rick Ramsey seconded it. Would any senior stockholding member like to have a ballot to vote on Irving Park campus improvements that is present? No? Okay. While members that are in person are doing their ballots, which we do not have any at this time, are there members participating remotely who would like to vote by voice? If so, please make yourself heard one at a time by stating your name and your vote.
If you could please raise your hand. Mr. Peter Murphy, would you please unmute yourself?
Yes, Peter Murphy, vote yes.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to mute you now. Oh, you've muted yourself. Mr. Marino?
Jory Marino, I'll vote yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barry Brown?
This is Mr. Barry Brown. I vote yes.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to vote at this time? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Harrison Stewart.
Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison Stewart, do you vote yes?
I do, correct.
Great, thank you, sir. I'm going to mute you now.
Hello, this is David Lowe.
Mr. Lowe, hello.
Hi, I'm for the proposal.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now.
Thank you.
John Kavanaugh, yes.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now. I see Laura Lomax.
I vote yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now. I see Barbara Peck.
Barbara and Jeff Peck, yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, you don't get two votes. Saying
Well,
Mrs. Lomax, I'm going to go ahead and mute you now. Is there anybody else who would like to place a vote? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself.
I'd like to vote.
Yes, Mr. Coleman.
I vote yes.
Great, thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now. Mrs. Michelle or Michael, excuse me.
Melbourne Michael, I vote no.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to go ahead.
Hi, this is Christopher Coley. I vote yes.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and mute you now. Is there anybody else who would like to vote? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Okay, at this time, will proxy holder, Mr. Edgerton, please cast the proxy votes on the Irving Park campus improvements as presented to the membership as directed in the proxies received. One minute, he's getting the rest of the data from the recent votes.
Sorry, one more minute, BJ. What is the number? Sorry, tabulating the last few votes. Yes, sir. Okay. Blank proxy votes received. Blank proxy votes for. Blank proxy votes against. Okay. Okay, do y'all have the number? Okay. Okay, so I don't say the numbers. What do I need to say? Just. Okay. Yeah. So 560. Well, I don't have any of these numbers. So I didn't know. 560. Oh, I don't know. So I don't either. So I'm just waiting for them to tell me, right? Okay. Okay. Sorry, y'all. They're gathering all the data and they're having problems right now sending it to me.
David, Richard Beard, the secretary, has the data. Would you like him to go ahead and just put that out? I know we're having trouble getting.
That would be great. Yeah, please. Richard, please tell us how many proxies were received, how many proxies were for, and how many proxies were against. Thanks, Richard.
All right. Out of the 823 eligible voters, we had 525 members vote, which accounted for 63.8% of eligible voters. The results were 66.3% for, 33.7% against. I'm pleased to report that the Irving Park improvements have been approved.
Thank you, Richard. Are there any questions or other matters that may properly come before this meeting at this time?
Mr. Moderator, this is Haynes Griffin. Can I make a comment?
Absolutely, Mr. Griffin.
This board, and in particular Matthew Rankin, has done the most remarkable job of analyzing the needs of our club, of hearing input from across a broad array of our members, and has put forth a proposal that is going to take us positively forward in the years to come, and that we will look back on and say this was a great transition move and a pivotal time for the club. I want to express my appreciation to the board and to the also to Matthew Rankin, who on a Zoom call earlier this week I nominated for sainthood on behalf of the whole membership. So terrific job, a wonderful in-depth and broad view of this situation, and I, at least on behalf of Ginger and I want to thank you all for the incredible amount of work and insight that you brought to this whole process. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. As the inside vice president, I would like to comment further on Mr. Griffin's remarks. There have been a lot of members touch this project, give input. It has come from a big breadth of membership, and we are excited about what is moving forward. There's a lot of work to do, and we appreciate everybody being on this call. We appreciate everybody that's given input. We appreciate everybody that has served on the committee or the board. We're excited about the future of our club, and we thank you for your time. At this time, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Do I have a second?
So moved.
This concludes the business to be conducted at our special meeting. Again, thank you for attending. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now.
Well done.
Oh.
And I nominate Jason Cohen for best Zoom picture.
Thank you, sir.
For sure.
Everybody have a great night.